I have a video that I want you to watch completely to the end. It is about the experience of a woman who was a stay-at-home mom and housewife in the Mormon community and her experiences as a young stay-at-home wife and mom. On the back end, I'll give my experiences as a stay-at-home mom, housewife, and now content creator. So watch her video, then I will be back for my take.
Ladies, if you haven't watched my videos about the dangers of being a stay-at-home mom, please scroll down and take a peek. Because it is time for us to stop the generational poverty and abuse that happens when women, for religious reasons like my Mormon doctrine or other reasons, marry young and make themselves completely financially dependent on their partners. By the way, financial dependence on a partner is the #1 predisposer to domestic violence, like what I suffered for 24 years. But even if he's a nice guy, even if he's Prince Charming, even if your stay-at-home mom experience is magical and you get to go to your yoga classes and take your kids to their little jamboree, even if it's all good, you're playing Russian roulette with your life. My grandma dropped out of college and became a stay-at-home mom, raised 5 kids. My mom dropped out of college, got married, had me, became a stay-at-home mom, raised 5 kids. My whole entire life, I was taught that my entire purpose in existing in this world was to get married and have babies. I met my first husband when I was 19 years old, married at age 20, had my first baby by age 23. We had 4, adopted 1. And honestly, most of that 24 years being a Mormon stay-at-home mom worked out for me. I got to wake up in the mornings and go to my little gym classes and take my kids in our little jogging strollers to the park and have park day with the other stay-at-home moms. I lived in multi-million-dollar houses. We spent the summers in Hawaii. I was able to transport my precious little entitled princes and princesses to their voice lessons and their club soccer games while grinding wheat to make our homemade bread and preparing our green smoothies to keep us all healthy and happy. Then I found out that my Mormon returned missionary husband had had a double life and had spent 24 years picking up hookers and doing horrible things behind the scenes. And do you know that I spent 3 years with him? Not because I loved him, not because I wanted to, but because I didn't have anything. I couldn't make a penny. My job was stay-at-home mom. He was my employer. Without him, I couldn't buy groceries. So the night I kicked him out for picking up his last 19-year-old prostitute, I became homeless, destitute, eating out of food pantries, and my kids did that with me. My followers know this past Friday I was back in divorce court. We've been divorced for 4.5 years now. I was back in court again because he's trying to get rid of child support. He doesn't pay, he doesn't support, he doesn't do shit. And I sat there on Friday looking back and thinking, the reason I'm in this position is because when I was a 17, 18, 19, 20-year-old girl, everybody around me talked to me about who to marry, what my wedding should be. Oh my God, my mom was so excited to have grandbabies. Not once did anybody ever in my life give me an option for being financially dependent and having my own world outside of a man. Fast forward to today. It is a random Sunday morning in February of 2023. I have been working my ass off to get 3 furniture projects flipped for the week. My 19-year-old daughter is the first one in our family to break this cycle. She's working a double shift at her restaurant here in Tucson. She's about to graduate from culinary school while working on her real estate license. I'm a cycle breaker and I hope you will be too.
I have been a stay-at-home mom for 8.5 years, for as long as my oldest child has been on this earth. But I did not become a stay-at-home mom until I was 33. Before that, I had a chance to leave my parents' home, get an education. I got my undergrad and I got my MBA. I have work experience under my belt. I've lived different places and I had an opportunity to find myself before I got married. Having the opportunity to find myself before I got married means that I was a whole independent human before getting married and becoming a wife. What some people do, they get these girls young before they have an opportunity to establish themselves, before they have a chance to get work experience, an education, so they have no plan B to fall back on. I want to use this woman's commentary as a jump off. She says, my granny ended up doing this. She was a stay-at-home mom. She dropped out of college to marry my grandfather, ended a widow in her 40s with 7 kids, went back to school and sent all her kids, and as a result, their grandkids, my generation, to college. I have a doctorate, and my kids don't know me outside of that, and they'll be the fourth generation positively impacted by my grandmother forcing us to have lives outside of a man. This is so important. What we do before we get married is become whole human beings. And instead of becoming completely enmeshed with a relationship where you completely lose your identity outside of being a wife and mom, you become a whole human being with things to offer. And that also kind of protects you if things need a plan B or C or D. What that woman went through is terrible, but it's a cautionary tale. And I hope more young women see that getting a husband and having a home is great. However, if you don't have your own, that person can snatch it back and then you will be at square one. So having something outside of a relationship and your titles as mom and wife are so important. So that is mine. That's my experience. I got married in my 30s, had children in my 30s. So I will always have something to fall back on if I have to get back into the workforce. So anyways, y'all leave your experiences, your comments, like, comment, share.